In today's video, you will see me sitting down with 3 experienced Facebook Marketplace sellers and asking them the most common questions about Facebook Marketplace. Between these 3 sellers, they have sold well over 1,000 items on Facebook Marketplace. And how I came up with the questions to ask them was based on the most common questions that you guys have been asking me in my comment section about Facebook Marketplace. I have also asked them a couple questions that I haven't been able to find answers to. For example, when I started listing on Facebook Marketplace, I didn't have the option to ship, and I really wanted to be able to ship stuff, but I couldn't figure out how to get it on my account. So we discussed that in the video and talk about our speculation as to what you can do to get shipping. I've also noticed that on some of my listings, I will get 0 views, and then others I will get hundreds within a few hours, and I haven't quite figured out what is the driver of that, so we also discussed that as well. Some of the more common questions that we talk about are, how does shipping work? How can you accept payments? Do you have to have it attached to your personal Facebook account? And many more questions. If you are looking for the answer to a specific question, check my description. I will have timestamps that link to every question that we answer. So you can just click on it and it will take you right to the section of the video where we answer that question. At the end of this intro, I also have a screen that lists out the timestamps of each time where we talk about each question. So again, if you're looking for just one specific question, you can skip ahead to that section. All right, before we get started, there was one question that I did get a lot that I forgot to bring up in the discussion with the other 3 people, and that is Facebook Marketplace a separate app or website, or is Facebook Marketplace within the normal Facebook app and the Facebook website? The answer is the second. Facebook Marketplace is within the normal Facebook app. You might see a little store icon along the bottom of your Facebook app. If you click on that, it will take you to Facebook Marketplace. If you don't see that icon, you can search for Marketplace within Facebook, and then it will bring up Facebook Marketplace, and again, you can click on that, and it will take you to Facebook Marketplace. I really hope you guys enjoy this Q&A, and let's get into it. All right, so you guys have been asking for more Facebook Marketplace content, and I've gotten lots and lots of questions about Facebook Marketplace. So today I have with me 3 people who are much more experienced with the platform than me. We have Drew from Profit Monsters. He, as far as I know, specializes in shoes and rock band, although lots of other things as well. And then Greg from Rocky Mountain Resell, as you can see behind him, has sold lots of cowboy boots, and as I recently learned, a lot of small appliances as well. And then Amber, who is also from Des Moines, also named Amber and also reseller. And she has sold over 500 items on Facebook Marketplace, mostly clothing, and a lot of them at lower price ranges. So I try to get a good mixture of people here with different experiences, but all of them have a lot more experience than I do when it comes to Facebook Marketplace. So do you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves? Drew, you can start. You can give your social media and then any other additional information that might be relevant.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so my name is Drew. I'm a full-time reseller. I've been reselling for about 2 years full-time, and I have a YouTube channel called Profit Monsters, and you can find me on Instagram at Drew_thrifts and flips. And I am a reseller on multiple platforms, cross-listing I'm a big proponent of, so I'm excited to talk about selling on Facebook. I sell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, and Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And is my shoes and rock band accurate? Or
yeah, pretty accurate. Yeah, I love selling both of those. But I sell a lot of other stuff too. I sell clothing, vintage T-shirts. I'm really into right now, and video games, electronics, hard goods, car parts.
Vintage T-shirts with your background.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's my pride and joy of my collection right there.
Right. Okay, Greg, you want to go next?
Yeah. So my name's Greg, and I go by Rocky Mountain Resale on Instagram and YouTube. Like Amber said, I do a lot of boots, a lot of kitchen appliances like blenders, toasters, little ovens. I do vacuums, and I've been a full-time reseller for going on 3 years now.
All right, sounds good. And then Amber, you want to introduce yourself next?
Yes, my name is Amber. I go by @Arbitrage with Amber on Instagram, and I've been a part-time reseller for about 2 years now, mostly clothing. I do a lot of Patagonia in the winter, but recently I've been focusing more on fast flips, a lot of lower price items that I can just make a quick buck on and then ship them out. So I'm pushing a lot of quantity on Facebook right now.
Yeah, and one of the great things about Facebook is that they have the lowest fees of any platform that I know of. You guys know any that have lower than 5%? Yeah,
Not
so
right.
and I'm assuming they're going to increase it because it used to be free. Then they put it to 5. So who knows where it will go? But right now it's 5%. So all right, let's get into the questions. So let's see. Okay, so my first question is how, for your businesses, how does Facebook Marketplace sales compare to other platforms? Are they equivalent to eBay or Poshmark or a smaller chunk? And I guess I should also add to that, do you list everything onto Facebook Marketplace? So Drew, you want to go first again on this one?
Sure, yeah. So my main platform is eBay. That's where I started off on. And then I found Poshmark through YouTube and Instagram and some other resellers. And then I slowly started working my way into Mercari and Depop. And then when Facebook started opening up with shipping, that's really when I started posting a lot more stuff on Facebook. I was selling bigger, bulkier items that I didn't want to ship, like wine coolers and, big car parts and things like that, like locally. But so Facebook is still kind of like, I'd say tied for fourth with Depop, because like Depop, I only sell vintage clothing on. So it's not my main source of money, but I would say that I post more of like my maybe more expensive items on Facebook Marketplace to try to get, a broader spectrum of buyers. So like Rock Band sets, for example, I list those usually for $200 plus. So I like to sell that kind of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and it's easy to ship. I mean, shipping has become super easy with Facebook Marketplace. So I love selling the bigger stuff on that platform because they make it really easy.
And so you don't list everything there. You only list certain items on Facebook Marketplace.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't list any clothing on Facebook Marketplace unless it's like a Harley Davidson motorcycle jacket, or something like that. But I don't sell like t-shirts and jeans and stuff on Facebook.
And is there a certain reason?
Well, because most of it was already listed on eBay and Poshmark at the time when Facebook kind of came around. And other than that, I just really haven't started cross-posting all of my stuff because I have a lot of active listings. So the amount of time it would take for me to go into each individual listing on eBay, copy and paste, and I don't have the pictures anymore. I'd have to retake the pictures to upload to Facebook. I'm not aware of an app that cross-posts to Facebook. So that's the main reason I haven't done it.
Okay, that makes sense. I just was checking because, I think it's helpful for context too, to know it's fourth, but not everything is on there yet. So, All right, Greg, do you have everything listed on Facebook or just a portion? What portion of your sales is Facebook?
So, well, real quick, and we can talk about it more later. I found it interesting that Drew said that he likes to put the more expensive stuff on Facebook because I kind of think the opposite. But we can talk more about that maybe in a minute. Facebook's become my number one platform. I should say that I'm not on eBay. I'm only on Facebook, Mercari, Poshmark. But Facebook's definitely become my number one platform at the moment. So everything goes on there, and then I cross list to the other platforms as I can. But it's definitely become my main focus.
Yeah, Greg, I also found it interesting when Drew said he posted the most expensive things, because I actually had a friend message me, Courtney from Common Tags. You guys probably know of her, but yeah, she messaged me and she's like, do I have to list lower end items to get sales on Facebook because I'm not really getting interest in my higher end items? And I'm like, I don't have enough experience to tell you. So, but yeah, Drew, you're saying you list high expensive things, but they're not clothing also.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, other than like I was saying earlier, like Harley Davidson jackets or very specific, like niche branded products. I don't really list like basic t-shirts for like $20 or $15. I tried it with a couple things. Like, for example, I live in Orlando, Florida. So like I find Florida Gator stuff, Florida State Seminole stuff, UCF Knights. Those are like college football teams. I've tried listing those for like, cheap prices. And usually I just get college kids that, want it, for free or want it for close to nothing. And it's not worth my time, to ship out. I'm building my business based on like a higher average gross sale, like selling quality over quantity, just because of the way I've built my business. And I don't want to go off too long on it, but like I've got a family and 2 kids, and I've got some other priorities that I don't want to ship 60 $10 items a day. I'd rather ship 3 $200 items.
Yeah, and
that's what works for me.
That's kind of why I got the mixture too, because Amber, I know you're on the opposite end of the spectrum. So you want to talk a little bit about what you sell on Facebook and we already talked about the dollar amount, but you can go into that a little bit more if you want.
Yeah, so Facebook is my highest platform. I would say like 2/3 of my like total sales amount per month go on there. And I'm kind of along with Greg where I don't want to list my higher priced items there because they really don't offer much protection for sellers. But we can also get into that later, like the issues with the platform. But so I do a lot of clothing. So I started off with Poshmark and Curtsy, which is really small, kind of moved to Mercari, did a lot of local Facebook sales, which got me really comfortable with the platform. So then when they started offering shipping, I was like, okay, perfect. And I think the good thing about Facebook is that there's such a wide range of people on there. Like you have young people who are my age, all the way up to like people who are old and use Facebook to connect with their grandkids. And so like that does have its difficulties with like different customers, like being comfortable, like putting their credit card information online. Like you still have people who like don't want to do that. But then I also have a ton of buyers who they just don't even message me. They purchase it. I say, thanks, I will ship it today. And then I get a 5-star review a few days later. Yeah. So like the ease of it has also been really helpful. But going back to Drew, he said like his priorities, he has a family. I'm young, I'm single, I'm doing this to pay for my grad school. And I'm also sourcing in central Iowa. Like I'm not going to run into like designer brands very often. So like I'm working with what I have. And I've made it work for me. My apartment is a mess right now. And I am going to have to move soon and just like liquidate a bunch of stuff to move. But I'll work on that. And I'll list a bunch of stuff on Facebook to do that.
All right. So you had talked about how you get messages from some people asking you like, how do I pay and things like that. So what percentage of your guys' sales would you say you get a message about before you make the sale versus they just buy outright? Because that is something I hear people also get worried about, is that people are going to message them asking, is this available? And like, how do I pay? And asking them a lot of questions. I would say personally, maybe 5 to 10% of my sales. It's really not that much for me. Amber, it sounds like maybe it's more for you. Would you, if you had to make a guess?
I think it depends on the item. Like sometimes if I post something that's really popular, getting a ton of views, I'll get multiple messages on it, and I'll tell everyone, yes, it's still available until someone purchases it. So you better act fast. I would say I definitely have a lot of sales though, where they might just say, is this available? I say yes, and then they purchase. It's very nice and easy. So I don't know, maybe 50, that's probably like a high percentage, but some of them are that easy. Just, yes, it's available.
Mm-hmm. Drew and Greg, do you feel like you get a lot more messages on Facebook than you do your other platforms?
I would. So is this still available message? I think what happens there is it's like an auto message almost, where when you're going through Facebook, you might accidentally hit that and Facebook auto populates that and sends it. And sometimes people don't even realize that happened. So that'll be the cause of, I feel like a lot of mine, where they'll ask that, I'll answer, and then I'll never hear from them again. Probably because they didn't mean to send that in the first place. I'd say 1 out of 10 sales, the person isn't aware that they're able to pay through Facebook, and they'll ask me, do you take PayPal or Venmo? And when they ask that, I absolutely use those other platforms instead of going through Facebook, because it saves me that 5% and is that much easier. But as far as how many messages I get, I'd say probably 75% of them are just buy outright, no questions. I never even talk to the person because Facebook gives them the tracking number automatically, and you really don't have to deal with anyone if you don't want to. But 75% buy outright, no issues. The other 25% might ask a few questions, but
yeah, I think that's good to clarify. I think probably 25% I get some kind of message, but to me, is it available? I don't even think about those, because I just push yes, and then it's done. But maybe 5 to 10% ask like a more detailed question. So, all right, Drew, did you have anything different to that?
I'd say the numbers are probably pretty similar to Greg. I mean, I usually have like 25% of people message me and say something like, how can I pay for this item? And usually my response is just click buy it now on Facebook. There's
Yeah.
a clear button that says buy now. And then I kind of do the same thing that Amber mentioned, where I say this item isn't going to last very long. I had a pair of Nike Shox I shared on Instagram the other day. I bought them for $9.99 at a thrift store. I listed them on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Facebook Marketplace. And within 10 minutes of listing them on Facebook, I had 3 people message me about them. And someone offered me, I list them for 60. Someone offered me 50. And I said, I have multiple people messaging me about them. If you want them, you can buy them before the other people do. Just click buy now. And it was like a lady who had never bought anything before. So she was just like, where do I give you my credit card? I was like, no, that's not how it works. You got to do it through Facebook. I don't take your credit card. And then she bought them full price and I shipped them out same day. So, it was great, except then you have to, go back and take off the listings from the other platforms. That's the downfall of cross listing. You got to do it. You got to do it right away or you'll forget about it.
Definitely. So I've had all of my buyers pay through Facebook and I've never tried anything different than that. And I've really not had anyone had any issues, but also I'm much newer to the platform than you guys are. So Greg, you talked about how you've let buyers pay off of Facebook on PayPal or Venmo. Mm-hmm. Amber and Drew, have you done that? Or has it mostly been they pay through Facebook and that's it?
I take Venmo and PayPal as well.
You do PayPal as well?
Yeah, I had someone pay with Venmo today, and then I just make sure that in the messages I get their shipping address, I buy the label through Pirate Ship, and then I send them the tracking information directly in the message.
Gotcha.
And I haven't had any issues.
And Drew, have you done that?
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a little more leery as Facebook grows bigger and bigger and bigger that, like eBay and Poshmark, if you try to communicate outside their platform, you'll get in trouble for it. Where right now, like, on Messenger, you can just say, no, just send me Venmo. And, there's no flags or anything in Facebook's algorithm. But I am leery about that and staying careful with it because I think in the future, as the platform grows, they are going to want people to stay on the platform for payment because that's how Facebook makes money.
Yeah, and I haven't even tried it because of that. I just assumed it was going to flag it and say, put something on my account and say, she tried to go onto Venmo and didn't let me get the fees, me being Facebook. So it's good to know for now that that's an option. And if a buyer's really confused, I can just say, hey, you got PayPal, just pay me at this account. So yeah, that's really helpful to know. So we've talked a little bit about Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry. I also wanted to add, I would never do this on eBay or really any other platform, but I actually had one person who wanted to pay me with a check. And usually that's a red flag that somebody's trying to scam you. But in this situation, I looked at the person. What's nice about Facebook is you can look at their profile. You can see whether their account was created today or 10 years ago and how extensive it is. And this guy, he barely knew English. He was an older guy that, wasn't familiar with how stuff worked. And he asked if he could pay with check. And I thought about it and I said, you know what, sure. Because, I wouldn't send anything out until it cleared. He sends it either clears or it doesn't. I'm not sending anything until it clears. And he paid with check, full price, and it cleared. And I made sure there was no issues with the bank, and there wasn't. And so I shipped his boots out about a week after I got the check. Which is just, I don't know if I'd recommend that, but it just goes to show how the different kind of people you do get on Facebook. And I think Facebook's nice in that sense that you're able to have more freedom to do things.
This is making me think about people who say, I was on eBay back when you took money orders. It's like,
right.
We were on Facebook back when you could accept a check. Right. So all of this kind of also centers around seller protection because on Poshmark, you wouldn't do a transaction outside of the platform really because you lose your seller protections. But on Facebook, there aren't many. So let's talk about that a little bit. So I guess, the first thing that comes to mind for me are if the buyer wants a refund or wants a return. And technically, buyers cannot have returns on Facebook Marketplace. And I have never had one, but I think some of you have had experiences with buyers who wanted a refund or a return. So could you talk about that in your experience from how did it work? How did they reach out to you? Did you get your money? have any of you been scammed by a buyer? So Amber, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm actually in like a Facebook sellers Facebook group, and so I've heard these stories of people getting scammed. So one person wanted a return. It was totally my fault. There was like chewed up gum smashed in the pocket. So I was like, yeah, ship it back. Like, I'll refund you. Like, don't leave a bad review. So I told her that going through Facebook's platform was really complicated, and it kind of is. On my end, I can just smash a refund button and she can get all her money back, but that does not guarantee she will ship the item to me. So I told her that she needed to ship the item first, send me the tracking information, and once I got the item back and confirmed the condition, that I would give her the refund. And so that's exactly what she did. She did ship it through FedEx, and it was like $14 to ship something that weighed less than a pound. So I know in the future to like definitely specify, like, do not ship this through FedEx if it's something light. Like, go to USPS. Like, it should only cost like $5 to ship it back. But then I also refunded her that shipping cost. So that's kind of where like you can do it or you don't have to. It really depends on like what kind of service you want to offer to your buyers. I really didn't want that bad review. So I was like, I will just cover it. But other people, since I do sell lower priced items, someone else wanted to return a shirt. She didn't like the quality. I was like, you know what? I only paid $4 for this. Like, I'm just going to refund it to you. You can keep the item. Like, I don't want to deal with this hassle to get a $4 item back. So obviously that does change if you're selling higher priced items, but that's been my experience.
Yeah, and just for a little bit more context for people watching who sell on Poshmark or sell on eBay, like for me, when I started on Facebook, I actually bought first. I sourced on Facebook, and I had someone, they had 2 dresses listed, and I bought the listing, and she just sent me one. And I'm like, well, I wanted the other one. I just bought it because, I mean, they're both in listing, but I really wanted the one, and the price was good, so I just paid for both of them. And she's like, oh, well, I made the listing for 2, but one already sold, so I just sent you the other one. And so I was like, well, I want a refund. And she's like, yeah, just ship it back to me. Like, I'll refund you. I'm like, what? Like, doesn't the platform need to know that I'm sending this back? Because what if I just send it back and you don't refund me? And so, yeah, it's just so different because you do work with them kind of outside the platform. Like, there was nothing where I input my tracking into Facebook, so Facebook knows, and she did end up refunding me. I sent it back to her. She sent me a refund. So it all went smoothly, but I couldn't believe how hands-off Facebook was in the process. Mm-hmm. So Greg, do you want to go next? Talk about your experiences, if you've had any?
Yeah. So I've yet to been, scammed necessarily. Facebook is, I mean, they're so new. They're learning themselves how they're going to go about doing everything. And so if somebody wanted to scam, it wouldn't be hard. And I don't want to necessarily put that out there and put ideas in anyone's head, but it's, if somebody has an issue and they go through Facebook, what I'm seeing both in the groups and also later on when I like check my things in the app every few days, they'll submit an issue to Facebook, they'll get refunded, and I won't even know about it until I go into this certain area of the app and see that it was escalated as a claim.
So has that happened to you?
Yeah, I have about 4 things in there that you never would have known about them unless you would have known about them if you went into your payments and saw that the payment was deducted, as well as if you went into that little section, it shows like all the items that you have a claim open on or anything. And I just noticed last night that they do have the option to dispute a claim. But prior to last night, as far as I know, there was no option to really fight back or really even ask to get your item back unless you did that on your own with the seller or with the buyer.
Yeah.
But as far as refunds, I've had a few things that had issues and they messaged me and I knew, okay, that probably was my fault. I didn't test this before I listed it or, something that I probably did do, and I just refund them, tell them to keep it, and just move on rather than risk a bad review.
Gotcha. And okay, so when you talk about you've had people open a claim or a case, I don't know what the terminology is, and then Facebook just refunds them. That's called like seller protection or protection program, something like that. Anybody know the name of it?
I can't think of it off the top
Okay,
of my head.
but there is something on the buyer's end. If the seller didn't send them what they wanted, they can go through this seller protection or whatever it's called and basically say you didn't send me what you said you would, and then Facebook does give you time to figure it out, because that's what happened honestly with the bridesmaids dresses I bought. I opened this up because I was like, Facebook needs to know, because I'm not just going to send this and Facebook doesn't have any idea what's going on. But then Facebook was like, no, work with the seller. And if they don't do what they say they will, then you can talk to us. So that was helpful to know from the buyer and as a seller, is that Facebook does want you to try to work it out with them, at least from the experience I had the one time. So, but it is kind of to be where you are on the hook if someone wants to return something, that you have to figure it out with them and refund them.
And it might even be better for you to attempt to work something out with the buyer first rather than have them escalate it to Facebook, because as of right now, it seems like if they escalate it to Facebook and they get refunded, then Facebook's not figuring out how to get you your item back. You know, after it reaches that escalation point, they're going to get the money back, and Facebook isn't necessarily concerned about you getting your item back.
Yeah, and that's another thing I would say overall is, like, I feel like there's less customer service, there's less help when there's an issue, either from the buyer or the seller's perspective, and that's what you get in exchange for a 5% fee. That's the way I look at it. You get the low fee, but you have no help from Facebook if you need help with something. All right, Drew, have you had any experiences with returns, and what was the process like for you?
So I haven't had any returns. I've had 2 issues as a buyer on Facebook Marketplace, actually, that are kind of interesting. And when Facebook Marketplace first came out, I sold a golf club with shipping, and the buyer claimed that he never got it. And when I reached out to Facebook, like, the guy was like antagonizing me, and I was like, let me reach out to Facebook. Let me see what I can do. Here's the tracking number. It shows that it was delivered. Like, I don't know if it was stolen off your doorstep, or, you know, if the guy was scamming me and saying he never got it because Facebook was so new. But there was nothing that I could do. Like, Facebook wouldn't respond or anything like that. And I never had the money taken out of my account. And eventually the guy just stopped messaging me. So I don't know if he ended up getting the golf club, or he found it, you know, or it was delivered. I know that there have been some times where, like, if something will be marked as delivered by UPS or USPS, and then it doesn't show up for like another hour or 2 or something like that, because it's like on a truck, and sometimes they scan things. I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but so I'm not 100% sure, but I never had the money taken from me, and Facebook never reached out to me and said anything. So it was kind of a weird situation, but it was right when Facebook first opened up shipping, because I was trying it out. So maybe it was just kind of like a bug where they gave the guy his money back and didn't do anything to me. Poshmark kind of does that when an item gets lost. If a buyer claims their item was lost, Poshmark will be like, all right, well, the buyer gets their money back and the seller gets to keep their money, and we take the loss. And I wonder how many people are scamming on Poshmark doing that, and then getting their money back. And then I had 2 examples or situations where I bought something on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a Nintendo GameCube that was like in the original box. It was like a special edition box. It was a killer deal. And I messaged the lady. She never responded to me. So I just went and bought it because I knew I could resell it for a lot of money. And I waited like 7 days and there was no response. She didn't reach out to me. She didn't answer my messages. And there was no notification that it was shipped out. And so after 7 days, I just said, I never received my item. It never got shipped out. And you can put like some reasonings, like it says, have you tried reaching out to the seller? And you say yes. And so I got my money back, and she never responded to it. So I don't know if it was like a scam or what it was. You know, if she was just thinking that I wasn't going to try to get my item or what. So that was a weird situation. And then going back to what we were talking about earlier, accepting PayPal and Venmo, I love selling Guitar Hero stuff. And I found a Guitar Hero bundle on Facebook Marketplace that was in Miami. So it's like 6 hours away from me. And the guy only had it set up for local pickup. So I messaged him and I said, hey, if I buy all of them, will you ship them to me and I'll pay for the shipping? And he said, sure. We came to a price, and I sent him the money Venmo, and then he never sent me tracking. He deleted our messages. You can't find his profile on Facebook anymore. It was like $100. So, I mean, $100 is a lot of money, but you really like created a whole Facebook account to scam somebody for $100. I think that he saw the opportunity and knew that he could probably get away with it if he just deleted the account. um, and then posted them locally, create a new account or something. I don't know. But so I lost $100 on that deal. So if I ever buy anything, it'll definitely be through Facebook personally, because I don't trust anybody now. But it's funny because I'll take Venmo if somebody offers it to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't tell them I'll take it, but if somebody says, "Hey, will you take Venmo?" I don't want to give Facebook my credit card information because they're afraid of the government's going to take over their credit card or something. I'll take Venmo that way, but I never ask for it.
And you won't pay with it now.
Correct. Yeah, I won't pay somebody outside of Facebook unless it's local. I have paid people multiple times locally for like video game bundles. I'll send them the Venmo and say like, "Hey, I'll pay you right now if you hold it so I can come pick it up." That way nobody else gets the deal before I can get it. Mm-hmm. And if it's local and the person gives me their address before I send them the money, I'm fine with that.
Gotcha. Okay, so in this whole conversation, we've been talking about whether Facebook is really helpful or not. So one thing that happened with me when I first started was I wanted to start listing, but I could not get shipping. Like I could not figure out how to get shipping on my listings. I read on the internet, trying to figure it out. And then Greg told me that there was a Facebook group that I could join that was about shipping on Facebook Marketplace, and that might be able to work. I tried to join the group. I didn't get in right away. And then all of a sudden one day I just had shipping. So did any of you run into this issue with not being able to get shipping on your listings right away, or did you all have it? Because I had at least 3 people ask questions on my videos saying, "I can't get shipping. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." I'm like, I had the same problem. So anybody had that issue? Know the resolution to it, the solution, I mean, to it?
Yeah, so I had Facebook I had shipping as soon as it was an option on my account. And then I've even experimented afterwards, and I just made a burner account to test it, and that had shipping as an option. And then I made another account just to test it, and that one didn't. So I have, I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it necessarily, but that definitely seems like the biggest question that people have is, how do I get that shipping option? But I had it from the beginning. Right.
Drew, did you have it from the beginning too?
I don't remember, to be honest. I feel like I remember there being an issue, but it was something weird, like you have to have a certain amount of local sales to qualify for shipping or something weird like that, if I remember correctly, which I had done a lot of local sales. And so it was almost like a pre-qualification that you had to meet to be able to offer shipping.
That's actually my hunch, because what I did in the meantime was I listed a bunch of stuff locally. And so I don't know if I passed a sales threshold or if it was like, okay, you've listed 20 clothing items locally. These can all ship, so we're going to give you shipping. So yeah, that was actually what I was going to suggest. If people don't have it, try listing stuff locally and see if that spurs the algorithm. But I don't know for sure what it is. Amber, do you have any thoughts on that?
I also thought it was a certain amount of like reviews of local sales. And so one of my friends, she wanted to ship stuff. And so we would do fake marketplace transactions back and forth where I would buy her listing locally and then give her a rating. And I don't know if we did enough or if it has to be through like different people. But that's also an option, put up a listing, have your mom message you, say, yeah, I'll drop it off, and then have her give you a rating. That might be a way to get around it.
My official advice is list things locally, tell them to real people, and hopefully that will help you get shipping, because I think that's what worked for me. Drew, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think it just has something to do with activity in general on the platform. Like if you're on Facebook Marketplace and you're messaging people or you are listing some stuff, I think that it's just nobody knows the answer to it. So you just got to kind of play around with a couple of things, and eventually it'll say, like, hey, you've qualified for shipping. And I found that when I first started listing, when I did qualify certain items, they wouldn't let you ship big items when I first started. So that's why I was listing like shoes right off the bat, because you could sell shoes because they were like up to 2 pounds. Now Facebook has changed their shipping, which I don't know if this is something you wanted to talk about in the future or not, but they have flat rate shipping, kind of like Poshmark does, based on the weight. So you put in, it's an item 2 to 5 pounds, and it's a flat $9 shipping for priority mail USPS. Or if it's between 10 and 50 pounds, you put in the weight and say it's a 25-pound item, and then it auto creates the the shipping right there, and it'll say $30.49 or whatever it is. And back when I first started, Facebook didn't have that. You had to kind of create it yourself and tell Facebook how much it was going to cost the buyer. And so, you know, for me, I'm more of an experienced seller with bigger items. So I knew, like, hey, on GoShippo.com, this Rock Band set costs me $26 to ship almost anywhere in the country. So I would put like $25, and then that label would be pretty accurate. But there's people that lie all the time on there because they don't know, and it's not I don't think it's on purpose. It's just people see the cheapest shipping option now. Like, I see people selling Xbox 360s with $3.49 shipping, and I'm like, this thing does not weigh 5 ounces, you know. But I don't
wonder what happens with those if someone buys it. Like, who's USPS charging? Are they charging Facebook because they messed up, or are they charging the buyer or the seller? Yeah, I see that too, where I'm like, their shipping is way wrong. Like, this person did not do this right. Okay, so we took a break for a second. We were talking a little bit about Facebook, and some of the pros is that it kind of humanizes you by having your profile attached. And one of the really common questions I've been seeing is that people want privacy. They don't want to use Facebook because they don't want their profile being looked at. And so, do you guys all use your personal Facebook account for your selling? Greg doesn't. Drew, do you?
Yes.
And Greg, what do you use? So my account is just my logo that I use for everything, and then my name is literally just Rocky Mountain. And you could definitely argue to the argument that maybe I get less sales than Amber with all of her real information on there. But my account, it has no information. It doesn't, fake name, essentially, fake picture. And I'm still doing decently well on it. However, I think there definitely probably is something to be said when it's a real profile and you can trust that the person on the other end isn't going to scam you. So yeah, I maybe could be doing a lot. Sorry.
No, I was just saying it's good to know that you have a business account, right? Is that what it is, or it's just a separate Facebook account? Yeah.
I mean, no, so it's a personal account, just like how the average person has. I've just, in the names part, I just put Rocky Mountain versus, Amber.
Mm-hmm.
My real,
Yep. And Drew, so back to what Amber was asking you before I switched so you could do an introduction. Do you feel like having your profile connected does humanize you to the seller and maybe make them more friendly or make more sales?
I think so personally, but I haven't ever had a business account or a burner account that I've used for Facebook sales. Greg obviously does really well on Facebook, and he has enough reviews at this point and feedback to justify the account, no matter how sketchy it may or may not look. So if he's got 700 5-star reviews on there, whether it says Rocky Mountain or he's got 5-star reviews that
you're gonna be demonetized by saying things. Well, we'll bleep it out so they can guess what you said.
Or bad dealer. But yes, at the end of the day, I do think, because my profile picture is the picture I use for my realtor page, because I'm also a real estate agent, and it's like a picture of me in a suit and tie. It's not a picture with my family like what Amber was originally asking, but it's a picture of me with my suit and tie, and I have had Facebook for over 10 years or however long it's been out, and so I do think that helps. I've also sold a ton of stuff locally, which doesn't get documented on the the profile with the feedback and stuff, but you can see that I've had a ton of listings, and I have activity on Facebook for multiple years. So I think that does help, and I'm very quick to respond, which is something that I believe Facebook does notify you, and it does tell you, usually responds within 1 minute or something like that on Facebook. And so I think that helps as well.
So another common thing that people are asking is, can you hide your listings from your friends? And in every single listing, there's a little toggle, and you can just toggle that to hide if you want to hide the listing. Do you guys hide all the listings from your friends? Do you leave it on? Do you have any opinions about that?
So I just leave mine visible to my friends. If you do post in resale groups that they're a part of, they will get notifications of Amber posted in a group, blah, blah, blah. So I don't do that a lot, but I leave them available. I I think I've had like one person I know buy something from me, just because I'm shipping so much, that it really hasn't seemed to have much of an impact.
Yeah, I don't hide my listings because I'm pretty vocal about my business and I have no problem sharing that publicly with people with what I do. And actually, I've had a lot of friends and family reach out to me and say like, "Hey, I've got stuff I'm going to take to Goodwill. If you want it, you can go through it before I drop it off." And they know that I'm a reseller, so I really don't, and I don't feel like I have anything that is considered like trash, if that makes sense, listed. It's like I have golf club sets listed, you know, electronics, things that are tested and working. I'm not selling like my 1-year-old son's slobbery teddy bear or something like that, you know. So it's not like it's unprofessional, if that's the right word for it. I think that my listings, I take well lit photos. I don't just take photos in bad lighting with, you know, my bed sheets like unmade. You know, I treat it like a business. So, you know, when people look at my stuff, it looks really good quality. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't.
I do hide my listings from my friends, but it's not because I don't want them to know about my business or that the things I'm selling I don't want them to buy. It's more so because I heard someone say, not about me, but someone else on YouTube was talking about how their friend was like, dude, like my profile is just your sale or your listing, your listing, your listing. And I'm like, I don't want to annoy my friends and family, but I'm just like, I did a whole listing spree and now all they see are my listings. So that's the only reason I don't do it, is because I've never had somebody buy from me when I was leaving it on, and then I'm thinking now, oh crap, am I just filling up their newsfeed with all my listings? So
I have had a friend mention that too. She goes, if I ever scroll through Facebook and I see a sweatshirt listed, she goes, I just assume it's from you and I keep going. So I don't know if that's for everyone, but she's the only person who's mentioned it. And I'm thinking it might have been in those local resale groups where those items were.
gotcha.
I'm trying to look at my Facebook now because I'm genuinely interested um if that is the case, because I've never had any of my friends or even my wife say like, "Hey, all your Facebook is, you know, Drew listed a new item on Facebook Marketplace." So maybe I do hide my items.
Well, now that you say that, I've never seen a notification about somebody else listing something.
Right.
If none of us have seen it, then maybe I just heard wrong.
It's just like, so I think now you might have to follow the person to see it in your feed.
I think that's correct. I think you do have to follow them on Marketplace. But I've never had a friend like, and I have a lot of friends on Facebook because it's a lot of people like from church and stuff like that I go to church with, and I've never had any of them come up to me at church and be like, "Man, you post a lot of random things on Facebook, don't you?" So I think Amber's right that it's like you have to follow that person.
This Amber, the other Amber's right. Yeah,
Correct, yeah.
that would make sense. That would make sense that you would have to follow them to be seeing everything that they're listing. Otherwise, Facebook is good about knowing what to show people, so they would learn quickly. Like they're not interested in all these listings. All right, so earlier we were talking about shipping, so let's go back to shipping. So on Facebook Marketplace for shipping, it's tiered, so you can do under half pound is like $3.50 or something. Half pound to 1 pound is around $5.50, and then 1 pound to 2 pounds, $9. 2 pound to 5 pounds, $12. Above that, I don't know the details, but there's also an option where you can make your own label. You can use your own prepaid label instead of using Facebook Marketplace. So that's what I'm interested to know first. Is do you guys use Facebook's label most of the time, or do you create your own? Personally, I will use Facebook's label unless it's over a pound and can fit in a padded flat rate. Then I'll charge the buyer $8 and use the padded flat rate. But other than that, I use the prepaid labels. So, Greg, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I use Facebook's labels all the time. Sometimes it might be $1 or so more, but I think it's just easier as far as Facebook giving the customer the tracking. You don't have to enter and move information between the sites. It also, as you get heavier, you're able to put in the specific weight at any time, but as you get into heavier items, that may be more beneficial to you to put in the specific weight versus the 10 to 20, 20 to 30 pounds. And then they've also started using UPS as an option for shipping now. I've heard some people don't have it yet, but I do have that option. Once I go over 5 pounds, I think they start offering that to me. And they've also recently implemented medium mail.
So, as someone who doesn't sell anything heavy, can you talk about how it works? I have no experience at all.
How the UPS works, or
so let's say you sell a 25-pound item. What are you getting for a shipping label?
Through Facebook, I could probably sell a 25-pound item for $20 to $30 max.
But is it not like the tiered shipping under 5 pounds, where it's like 2 to 5 pounds is exactly $12? 25 pounds, there is no, it's exactly this amount.
It's based on the weight that you put in. So the Facebook, the heavy stuff is between 10 and 50 pounds. And then you put in within the 10 to 50 pounds how much it is. And then whatever you type in, Facebook already has auto-created the amount based on that, which anywhere in the country, which is crazy to me because I'm in Florida. And if I were to ship a Rock Band set to California, it would cost me way more money than if I were to ship it to Florida from Florida, and the buyer's going to pay the same either way. So that's why it is nice to do it through Facebook, because even though if you sell it to a buyer in Florida and you live in Florida, it's more beneficial to charge the buyer flat rate. But this way, it's just one generic price for anybody in the country, and you don't have to worry about giving shipping quotes. They either buy it or they don't, and so the heavier stuff is just like the smaller stuff. It's just once you get over 10 pounds, they want you to put in exactly how much it weighs, because then the shipping price will adjust based on how much it weighs. But I'm with Greg. I get Priority Mail and UPS shipping options, and UPS is usually way cheaper for anything over 10 pounds for me.
And do you put in the dimensions as well for the heavy items, or it just asks you for the weight?
Nope. I do that on Mercari as well. I don't put in dimensions on Mercari.
Okay. So up to 10 pounds, it's the tiered shipping. Like I explained, above 10 pounds, you put in the exact weight, and then it calculates one rate no matter where the buyer's from in the country. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, no experience with anything above 5 pounds. So, and Amber, I'm assuming you most of your stuff's below 5 pounds. So,
yeah, I usually do that. I do not have the media mail option yet. A lot of Facebook's features seem to come out randomly to whatever special group of people they want that week. So that's where I use my own shipping label, and I just pay the media mail rate and then upload the tracking to Facebook.
So we talked about glitches here and there, but just in general, like you said, people get stuff at different times. There's a lot of questions people have. And have you guys found like you've had good luck trying to talk to Facebook customer service, or trying to get a hold of Facebook and find out information about anything that you're having questions about? Amber, you're shaking your head no.
So I have contacted them multiple times. I will say they're pretty quick to respond, like usually same day. However, they've never solved my problem. They give you some generic answer. They give you a link to some article on their site, and you say, no, that wasn't my issue at all. So one time they were supposed to have a free shipping weekend, and it wasn't applying to any of my listings. And those free shipping weekends are just like a gold rush. Like I was looking forward to selling a bunch, and it wasn't applying. I was contacting them. They were like, well, like, can we try to recreate the error, blah, 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 like taking forever. I was like, by the time you figure this out, the weekend's going to be over. Like, why is this not evenly applied to everyone? And it seems like the people that they do have answering have never like bought or sold on Facebook themselves. Like they just seem like it's everyone's first day in customer service and they don't know anything. So they're really not helpful. I really tried to avoid them if at all possible.
Yeah, and I've had one experience. I had, what happened? Oh, I was trying to create my shipping labels and it wouldn't create, like it just wouldn't create a label at all. So I sent a message to customer service. They responded in like 5 minutes and they're like, here's more information about how to ship on Facebook. And it was like this introductory article. I'm like, this is not helpful at all. Greg, you were nodding along when she was saying her story. Have you had similar experience?
Yeah, well, so just on like how she mentioned with the media mail, 1 week I'll have the media mail option, the next I won't. So I'll have the option to use media mail on my phone, on the computer. It's not there at all. So there's that. And then I've also, Amber might have seen this in that Facebook group. I think we're in the same one. It's still happening a little bit, but it was, people were just randomly getting banned and couldn't get a hold of customer service and have been banned for going on months now. And I was really fortunate to have previously did something that helped me get unbanned within a day. But there's some people who are still waiting, going on months now, whose payments are frozen and who are just banned and can't use Facebook even to browse. So that's definitely one of the bigger glitches that I've experienced. And
Yeah,
they're
because you
there,
did
and they're,
banned for like 24 hours until you got it fixed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I could go into that if it's kind of a long process of how to get them banned and whatnot, but it's just annoying. And it seems like when you try to contact customer service, the form they give you to fill out seems like it doesn't really go anywhere from what I experienced and what all these people in the group are experiencing. So
So how
that's
did you
frustrating.
get involved?
Luckily, I had created a Facebook Shops page randomly, just testing it out. And it turns out that Facebook Shops, when you go to get help through that, you get an actual response versus when you go through the link that the Facebook gives you once you're banned, that doesn't go anywhere. So luckily I had created that and I didn't have to wait to get that approved and to get it set up like everyone else is having to do. So I was just able to contact customer service and they fixed it within a day. But some people are still in the middle of that process and going nowhere.
Drew, have you had to contact customer support much, and have you had similar experiences that we've had?
Only from that one situation when I sold the golf club and the buyer claimed he never got it, and I didn't really get any help from Facebook. The way that I kind of look at it as a whole is twofold, I guess you could say. The first thing is you get what you pay for. If you're going to list on a platform that's newer and is only offering 5% fees, you need to go in with the expectation that you're not going to get the same customer support as a Poshmark where they're charging 20%. Like, that's one of the reasons why I'm okay.
You're that good. It's decent. It's better than Facebook.
I mean, I think Poshmark's better than eBay and Facebook. Especially when it comes to returns, because with a return request on Poshmark, not to get too far off, but they submit it to Poshmark, and then you can either choose to respond or not respond and let Poshmark approve it or deny it. And most of the time, Poshmark will favor the seller if it's a reason that doesn't qualify for what Poshmark's platform is, even if someone's angry. And so, on any platform, and this is not a pet peeve of mine, but just kind of like something that I strongly believe in as a reseller, and for other sellers listening to this, you're going to have, your issues and your glitches on every platform. And you have to be able to emotionally control yourself in a way that you don't react based on glitches. Like, I understand that you're paying for a platform to use their service, you're paying a percentage, but you're also getting that platform's audience, that platform's reach, and that platform is driving sales to your business. So whether you're selling on Mercari, eBay, Depop, Etsy, Facebook, anywhere, you have to go in with the expectation that nothing's ever going to be 100% perfect sunshines and rainbows on any platform.
Yeah.
And, every platform has its flaws. And so you have to kind of learn those flaws as you're going. There's no YouTube channel, there's no videos, there's no guidance that says, here's what to avoid on eBay, here's what to avoid on Poshmark. It's just learn as you go, because every seller is different based on what they're selling and what they're providing, for their customers. So, treat each platform, with professionalism, and as the issues come, learn to deal with them and then grow from it, versus getting angry and then saying, well, I heard horror stories about Facebook from somebody else, so I'm never going to sell on it. When really it probably wasn't a horror story. It's probably just somebody who sold something on Facebook, didn't get the customer support that they wanted, and started screaming on social media that Facebook sucks.
Yeah,
I think it's good to go in with expectations, though, that there isn't much support in terms of customer service helping you if you have an issue with your buyer. And also there are things changing a lot, which means there's glitches a lot. Or there's things like what Amber was saying, where everybody has free shipping, but my account doesn't. Or what I was seeing, where everybody has shipping on their account, I can't even get shipping. So just go in knowing there might be things that are like, what is going on here? Or I can't get help with this. So, but yeah, the 5% fee offsets a lot of that. And I've had really good luck getting sales on there so far. So
Yeah,
I think when you can't turn to customer service, I think those Facebook seller groups are really helpful to either post in or read other people's posts to see, is this just a me issue or is this a glitch that everyone's having right now? So I think if you just search like Facebook Marketplace sellers in terms of groups, like there's multiple that will pop up, and that's been pretty helpful.
yeah, I'm in a group called Shipping on Marketplace, and I tried to invite somebody before, but they just recently put a post that's like, you cannot invite people to this group. They need to try to join themselves, and then we can approve them or not. So, Drew, what were you going to say?
I'm just going to say I'm usually more aggressive in my outlook on certain situations like that. But the way that I kind of treat Facebook, for example, is I go into Facebook knowing that I'm going to be charged 5%. If I don't get charged the fees or if there's a free shipping weekend, to me, it's like getting a bonus on your paycheck. You know, if you have a real 9 to 5 job or you're a commission salesperson. So if people are saying that they're getting free shipping or that there's no fees that weekend, then great. If it doesn't happen, I still know like I'm only getting charged 5%. So like obviously not having to get charged fees for a weekend or for, you know, a week would be amazing, but I know that that's not going to happen with Facebook on everybody's marketplace because it just glitches. We've all kind of already discussed that media mail here and shipping here and fees here and there. So like I kind of go in with the mindset like I always plan on paying 5% fees or paying 5% fees to Facebook for selling on there. But if I have a weekend that doesn't charge me, then great. You know, that's like a bonus to me.
Yeah, or recently a bunch of people I know have got, well, not a bunch. I know 2 people. That's not a bunch, but I know 2 people. One person got 40 free shipping labels. I think Kathy at Ginger Marvin on YouTube, I think she got 40. And then another of my friends, she got 20 free shipping labels. So I'm like, why did I get any? Like, why did you guys get free shipping labels? Did you get the like free labels?
I did. It was weird. I don't know how many I got. I had them and then I didn't, and then I had them again.
All right. So I went back to my list. We've touched on almost all the questions on my list, but we haven't talked about listings. So I've had a couple listings that when I posted them, they just got flagged right away. So one was I listed 2 pair of shorts. They were the exact same brand, both jean shorts, the same size. One of them got flagged. It said scalloped in the title, and that's the only reason I could think that I got flagged. Facebook thought maybe it was scalloped potatoes, scalloped knife. I don't know what they thought, but they denied it. I submitted an appeal on it, and they still denied it. And then I had no, they approved that one. Sorry, I submitted an appeal. They approved that one. And then I had a pair of Coach shoes, and they're like torn in the back, and they're just not in very good condition. So I listed them for like $10. I'm like, I'm just going to sell them fast. And they flagged it and said like, this looks like it's counterfeit based on the price and the brand. And then I appealed that one, and they denied that one. So I've had 2 flagged. One, the appeal approved it, and one, the appeal denied it. So I'm interested in what your guys' experience are. I've heard, I think it was Kathy again at Ginger Marvin, who said that every single item that's gotten flagged, she's appealed it, and they've all got denied. So what has your experience been? Drew, do you want to start on this one?
I've never had an item get flagged, so I don't have much experience in this area.
Well,
but
that's good. Good that you have.
I also don't sell 500, haven't sold 500 items like Amber, so, you know.
Yeah, Amber, you want to go next? Have you had items?
Yeah, so I have had this, and I think I even like mentioned it to you. I think you had posted about your items getting flagged. When that has happened and I've appealed them, I never like hear anything back. I always think it just gets denied again. But my workaround is if you just take new photos of the item, you can use the exact same description, and usually it'll get through that time. So a little annoying because you have to like pull the item back out, but that's worked for me, and the item like then gets views and does sell. So
and you use this
I don't know what their bot is that decides if they would approve it or not. I have not been able to figure that out.
And did you do the same wording? You didn't change the wording at all on the denied listings or the flagged listings?
So at first I did try to change the wording and like use the exact same pictures, and it still got flagged. So that's when I was thinking it was the photos causing it. But then once I changed the photos, you can use the exact same words.
Gotcha.
So
interesting. That's good to know. Greg, what about you?
So I get flagged a lot on my boots. You can't use like snakeskin always gets me flagged. You can't say snakeskin boots or anything to do with an animal, really. is what I set it off with the most. I tried taking it out of the title and only putting it in the description, and it still got flagged. So now I just, they can see in the picture what kind of skin it is. I just put cowboy boots essentially. And then I randomly will get flagged on other items, like New Wave Oven got flagged as a medical device. I can't remember what word was in. I can't remember the word that set it off, but New Wave Ovens get flagged sometimes, and everything is always gotten approved after I put in a request for review.
Interesting. Amber, yours have all got denied, and Greg, yours have all got approved.
And then one other thing is, and I'm sure maybe we'll touch on this too, but when you're renewing your items, sometimes I accidentally click renew twice, or relist and delete. Sometimes I'll click that twice, and it'll relist the item twice, and so one of the items will get flagged as a duplicate. So that happens sometimes, but similar items that I post, like if I posted a bunch of bread makers and some were the same brand, it seems to know the difference just because the pictures might be a little bit different.
Have any of you used stock photos in your listings? Because I'm just guessing they'll get flagged if you try to use them, but I've never used them to try it out.
I use them all the time, and it's been fine.
You do use them. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm thinking back to what's been flagged before, and I don't think I used stock photos on some of those images. So it's been fine. I've heard people say that they don't want to use stock photos on Facebook because when you scroll through Marketplace, there's so many ads anyways that makes your item more likely to just blend in and look like an ad. I really haven't seen a problem with it. I would say my listings sell probably about equally.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I haven't never used a stock photo in my life on any platform. I've never used a stock photo. That's crazy. I feel like
your strong opinion that you were
I feel like it's so much extra effort to take a stock photo, but I guess it's different with like women's clothing or something because they want to see what it looks like on a body.
No, not a modeled photo. A stock photo, like the one from the website of the company who's selling it originally.
Yeah, but like stock photos that are modeled, like those seem to work fine too.
Yeah.
I think that's what Drew's referring to.
I know that like Anfisa from Far North Thrift, she did that a lot with her clothing because she sells a lot of women's clothing. She's one of the only people I know that was doing it. And I was just thinking that it seems like so much of an extra step. You have to go to Lululemon's website, then you have to find the product of what you bought, and then you have to find the stock photo of the same color, and then use that versus just take a picture of your own. But I guess I could see the benefits of it.
If you use Google Lens, it's super easy to find stock photos. You just take a picture of the item, look it up in Google Lens, and then boom, stock photo. I don't normally use them because I understand the ethical reasons people don't use them, but I know there's people who are wondering, so I thought I would ask, and now we got an answer. It works well for now, so thank you, Amber.
Don't use stock photos with Allbirds on eBay, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you'll be down. Okay, so the next questions are the ones that I'm personally the most interested in. So, do you guys know why some listings get no views and some get like 500 views in 48 hours and they sell? Any ideas? Any hunches? Greg, you can go first.
I mean, I honestly just think I don't have anything that hasn't gotten any listings that I feel like should have. If I list an Apple product, it gets 1,000 views in a couple days versus there's some items that I just don't expect to get many views. And they don't. And I think it's just there's not people looking for them. And I think that'd be the same across all platforms. So I don't think there's any like crazy things happening.
You have nothing that you've listed that seems like a good item and it just gets 0 views.
No.
Really? I feel like this happens to me a lot. It gets either 0 or it like shoots off and gets hundreds. And I'm like, what is going on? Okay, Drew, what's your experience been?
I'm not aware of anything that I have that has 0 views, but I know that I've listed like some medical devices and stuff that are like more of a very specific niche market that may only get a couple views here or there, but that's because the buyer's looking for it. My theory is that Facebook Marketplace is kind of like the YouTube algorithm. Like sometimes it'll just pick up a video and push it out to an audience, and that's where you see like a random reseller video goes viral and gets like 500K views of them at a garage sale buying Funko Pops. And I'm like, this video makes no sense why it's going viral. I'm happy
It does,
for them.
though. Click-through rate, view duration. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be pieces that Facebook uses to decide what they show. But I also wonder if there's a glitch involved in some of this. So I don't know.
Well, there's a thing called Facebook Pixel, which is put on each person's computer through Facebook, which is kind of like it saves what people search. And it's not just through Facebook, it's, their cookies and stuff like through Google searches and, things that they're talking about with their friends. It's kind of creepy when you really think about it. But like you could be, talking with a friend on Facebook Messenger about Lululemon leggings or something, and then all of a sudden your marketplace is flooded with Lululemon leggings. And I think that those algorithms are there because, I mean, when you look at Facebook, like on mobile and you're scrolling, you can only see like 6 to 8 items at a time. Imagine how many hundreds of thousands of items are being listed and are currently listed and what you're actually seeing. So like if I'm searching for Rock Band and Guitar Hero stuff to flip on eBay, I'm always getting pushed with Rock Band stuff on my Facebook Marketplace when I just go to like the Explore section of Facebook Marketplace. And I think that's kind of like Instagram too. Like the Explore page is more around like things you've searched on your phone and things like that. So that's why some stuff may get hundreds of views, is if it's a popular brand or something that other people just happen to be searching, or it's in season or something like that.
I'm honestly surprised that neither of you experienced this, because I definitely experienced this, and I've had people message me about it. Like I listed 3 items a couple nights ago, and all of them in the morning still had 0 views. Like what happened? Why don't you like these 3 items but the other stuff? So Amber, have you experienced?
I'm gonna look right now.
I have off and on, and so I've really been playing around with what times I'm listing items, because ideally you would want to list when a lot of people are buying and not many other people are posting. Which for me recently, I've seen Saturday mornings to be like a great time to post. Like I can post a bunch of stuff between like 7 and 10 a.m. and then, half of it will sell and I will ship it out that day. Or I don't know, like Monday evenings. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of women's clothing. The Bachelorette is on. The Bachelorette is on Monday evenings. And so people are scrolling on their phone during commercial breaks. They might see an outfit or something. They're like, oh, that looks cute. Like, I want some version of that for me. And like that theory, like, does it always work out? So I do like keep playing with it. Sometimes I have, really great Thursday evenings, and the next week it'll be absolutely dead. And I'm like, okay, are people getting paid? Like, do I think a lot of other people are posting right now? So that's mostly what I've been playing around with, but then making sure that you renew your items after a week and after they've hit like that spot to delete and relist them. That has also trickled in some sales of stale items for me.
Yeah. So I just looked on my Facebook Marketplace, like the last 20 items that I've listed within, most of them were today, but a couple items that I've had, I only have 1 item that has 0 views. Now, some of them have only a couple views because it's like something very specific. But for example, like the only item that has 0 views is this cordless phone set. And that doesn't surprise me because I don't feel like anybody on Facebook may be looking for that. But I cross-posted it from eBay just to see if that kind of an item would get views, because I've never listed an item like that on Facebook Marketplace. So that one does have 0 views, 0 saves, 0 shares, but everything else at least has something.
I'm looking at mine now to see. So like this Vince cardigan, it's a wool cashmere mix. It retailed for like $300. So I listed it at $70 because it's in really nice condition. And it has gotten 0 views. Let me see. I need to go back a step. But yeah, 0 views, 0 saves, 0 shares. And it's been listed for like 3 days. And
but also, who was shopping for wool sweaters in the summer?
Yeah, but it's not getting shown. You think that they're pushing it down because of the type of item? Like, it's not that it isn't getting bought. It's not even getting shown to anybody.
Right. Well, I mean, part of
nobody's clicking into it, though.
Are people like searching, like, oh, I want to buy like a beach cover up right now because it's summer. So I think like seasonality also really helps, at least for me, like also doing clothing where, My
Well, like
Weird Eagle shorts sold because it's hot out. People need shorts right now.
All right, here's another one. This is a Sundance short sleeve top they listed for $15. So the price isn't bad. The brand isn't bad. It's a short sleeve shirt.
I'm going to go view it right now to prove you wrong.
The internet's getting taken up. I modeled it. I put it on the mannequin, and it has 0 views.
Yeah, well,
I can't figure it out.
I have a pair of Golf Joy women's golf cleats, and golf cleats sell really good right now for me. So I've been cross-posting them, and that one has 1 view. So,
yeah, okay. There we go. Another example. Yeah. I don't know. If anybody has any ideas, put it in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
Have any of you messed with boosting your listings at all? I haven't, but
I tried it on a few, and I never got a sale. I tried it like 3 items, and since I didn't get a sale, I'm like, well, I tried it, and I spent money doing it.
Okay. And then I think it's important to point out or to let everyone know that the relist and delete your list options, I think, are very important to keep. It's almost like sharing your Poshmark closet, except this just has to be done once every 7 days, I believe.
Yep.
And you can do that 4 or 5 times, and then after that many times, you delete the whole listing and then relist it using the same information. But I think that's important to keep up on, to make sure you're doing that once a day. Just making sure everything's updated, and I think that brings it back up to the top of the list of as far as items.
I just got a message on Facebook Marketplace for something I listed today. So
you're gonna get a sale too? Amber got a sale on it. No,
it's a golf club set today that I picked up, and I separated it into 5 different listings. And just this one listing is for $225 for a set of golf irons, and said, "Are they still available? If so, what area you're in?" So this is probably someone who's looking to local pick them up. But we'll see. Maybe I can turn it into a sale before the show's over.
That'll be awesome.
We're competing. I'm currently at $15, and everyone else is at 0. So
yeah, you're winning.
My small flips are really adding up.
So this question, actually, Amber, I specifically have it for you, but the others can chime in as well. So buyers can save their listing, and it seems like it'd be great if we could send an offer to them or see who they are and send them a message. But as far as I know, there's not a way to do this. But I thought you shared at one point you were able to do that. So are you able to do that?
It used to be that if you would have a listing and people would save it, Facebook would like automatically send you a message like X amount of people like saved your item, drop the price, and it would give you 3 options. You would click one, it would drop the price, and it would notify those people. I have not seen that in months, but more recently I have seen if someone messages you on an item, say it's listed for 60 and they say, will you take 50? Sometimes, not always, at the top of the screen, I have a create discounted price button, and I can message them, say, yes, I can do 50. I can click that button, submit 50, and it will only go to them. So really? That's kind of where you do want them to like message you, because you don't have any way to send out mass offers right now. So it's really just first come, first serve. If my listing's been sitting for a while and I'm wanting to get rid of it, yeah, I'll probably accept your offer. And then you don't have to play that game of, okay, are you ready to purchase now? If you are, then I'll drop the price for you. So
I get notifications from Facebook when something's been listed for too long. I get notifications asking me if I want to lower the price, and then it automatically like pushes it out to people who have viewed it or something like that. So it'll say like, this item's been listed for 2 weeks. Do you want to lower the price? And then you say yes or no, and it'll automatically like let you pick what price you want to lower it to. It gives you 3 options. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty cool.
I've seen that in a while.
Yeah, and I had the same thing that happened that Amber said, where someone messaged me and said, hey, would you take $50, $55 or something? And then Facebook popped up like, do you want to send a discounted price to this person? And I said yes, and they sent it and they bought it. Huh. So none of you, though, have seen any way to either send an offer just to the people who saved it or to see who saved it?
No.
I haven't either. I just wanted to check, just in case one of you knew something that I didn't.
But I did want to...
I'm curious about that. I'm going to look.
I do have a feature called Promotions, and that allows me to put either my entire store or just you pick and choose which items, but I can create a discount up to 50% off, or for however long I want, whether it's an hour, a week, a day. I can also do a dollar amount off the items that I choose, or I can do free shipping on items that I'm charging shipping.
Yeah, I think that as well.
And then there's also, when you're listing items, there's an option to allow offers, and then you put in like the lowest amount that you'll accept, which is good. But all that does is it creates like a form for the buyer to submit the offer to you, and you can either decline it or not. But if you choose not to use that option, all they're going to do is message you and ask you if you'll accept something else anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's a good point. Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, I set mine to it defaults to like 50%. I just go through, and then it's one less manual step. I just said, yep, 50% sounds good. All right, next question. Do you guys have certain brands that you found that really sell well? And Amber, I kind of thinking of you because I know you sell a lot of different brands. And do you have certain brands that you're like, this sells so well on Facebook, I'll always pick it up? And
Drew,
one of you mentioned Harley Davidson, Drew, I think. And I know Amber has a lot of that as well.
I was just going to say Harley Davidson. I don't know if it's just their target market. I think also right now Harley Davidson is in a spot where young people, I don't know, like Gen Z millennials, like it's cool, but also my dad wears it. And so does my mom. And so you just have so many more potential buyers on that. I think that helps it sell really quickly. Same with maybe like vintage like concert tees and like vintage tees in general. You probably have that wide range of buyers on it. Whereas other stuff that I've posted, like I posted like 4 pairs of Lululemon leggings this week. I haven't gotten any messages about any of them. None of them have sold. So it really just kind of depends.
Anything come to mind for you too, Greg or Drew? Certain brands you're like, this sells so fast for me on Facebook Marketplace?
The only thing I've specifically noticed is like cheap romance novels. I'll sell those in lots of like 50 or 100 even, and those do so well on Facebook. And
I can imagine. I feel like
it's that demographic
user. I can imagine it would like this.
Yeah.
What do you price them at? Like for $50?
50 books I'll sell for $60 free shipping. I'll be able to ship them for $12 media mail, and I get them for a penny a piece usually.
Have any of you sold Torrid? The reason I ask is I've had 3 people message me in the last week saying they've started listing stuff on Facebook, and 2 of the 3 said Torrid stuff sold really well for them.
I haven't picked it up a ton, but the times that I have posted it on Facebook, it sold on Facebook.
That's the only brand that's on my radar because like I said, 2 of the 3 people I talked to mentioned it. So
I'm not a huge clothing seller on Facebook. I only put certain brands like what you were asking about earlier, like for example, Harley Davidson riding jackets. There's a huge market for those because I think that, well, both Ambers have kind of touched on it, but you guys have both kind of said, and Greg too, that there was like certain buyers on Facebook Marketplace that, you know, like grandparents are on there, you know, that don't know what a Poshmark is, you know, and they're already on Facebook, and then they're getting like pushed to like look at a listing on Facebook Marketplace, and they're like, ooh, a Harley jacket or something. So, you know, I'm more prone to list stuff like that. The thing that sells the fastest for me on Facebook is video games and Rock Band and Guitar Hero stuff. I do a lot of Facebook to Facebook arbitrage, like local pickups of Rock Band and Guitar Hero stuff, and then I sell it. And I don't know what it is about Facebook that the Guitar Hero and Rock Band is so good, but like when I make the bundles, especially like the drum set, the microphone, the guitar, and the game all in one bundle, those are some of my best sales, and I've never had a problem. Like they don't even message me. They just click buy, and then I say, thank you so much. I'll ship this out tomorrow, and I get 5 stars, and it's awesome. You know, like those people just kind of like, they know what they want and they buy it. So video games do really well. I love selling bundles. So I'll buy like a lot of, trying to think of the right word for it, but I'll buy video games in bulk, either on Facebook Marketplace or at garage sales and flea markets. And then I'll save up all the games, and I'll usually bundle like a bunch of games. I call it pickle games that aren't worth selling by themselves. They're only like $5 games. But if you put 10 or 12 games with an Xbox 360, you can usually get almost twice as much money for it, just because someone wants to buy this for their kids and they don't have to go looking for a bunch of games. It's already going to come with things they can play. So those do really well for me too.
Yeah, I have no experience with video games at all, so I'm learning.
You should pick them up tomorrow at garage sales.
If I find any, we'll see. And then the times I have looked them up, because I went out one day, like, I'm gonna look for video games, and I looked them up, and they were all just like worth like $2, $3. So I guess maybe in a bundle it'd be worth it. So I think I made it through all the questions on my list, other than the wrap up questions. So, the next thing I'm wondering is just in general, what would you guys say is like your least favorite thing about Facebook and your most favorite? It's most favorite, right? What is your favorite thing about Facebook, and what is your least favorite thing about Facebook?
Most favorite, low fees. Least favorite, lack of customer service.
Anybody have anything different than that? Because that's what I'd say as well.
I'd probably say the same thing, but like we kind of talked about earlier, they go hand in hand. The low fees, but lack of customer service. But I'd say that's probably my two as well.
My favorite thing, other than the low fees, is just the ease of listing. Facebook Marketplace makes it so easy to list stuff. You can put in the title, the description, the price. We talked about earlier, the shipping's already pretty much there for you. It's all just like, I guess you could say drag and drop. And what I love about Facebook actually is that if you are typing in, it asks you for like a brand of the product. If you can type in any brand you want and it'll show up on the Facebook as a brand, like on eBay or Poshmark, if you're selling a brand that Poshmark doesn't recognize in their list, you have to put unbranded or unknown brand or no brand. But on Facebook Marketplace, you can type in anything, and you don't have to have that brand approved or anything. So that's nice as well. Least favorite thing about Facebook is probably people asking me if I'm a reseller or not when I'm trying to buy stuff, because I do a lot of Facebook pickups and stuff, and I always negotiate. I say, hey, will you take less for this if I come pick it up right now? I think that's natural in every reseller's mind. And people will say things like, well, are you a reseller or are you buying this to use? And I don't like that, because why does it matter if I'm giving you, money? But, it just depends. Usually I tell people I resell full time, but if it's something that I think that's going to affect the value significantly, I'll say something like, no, I'm buying this for my son, and then I'll let my son use it before I list it. So yeah. I'm not lying.
I need to add to my least favorite and favorites. So least favorite is 0 views. When my artist gets 0 views, I can't figure it out. And then my favorite is when this has happened to me probably 8 to 10 times. I'll list the item, it'll get like 400 views in an hour, and I'll have 2 offers and a full price sale in like an hour. Like I list the item and it's gone. It is taken off and it's gone. So if I could just figure out how to get the rocket ship that takes off instead of the 0, that would be perfect. Greg, what else did you think of?
So something, I don't know if you guys list in your local like buy sell trade groups.
I don't actually.
No. So I found, there's a difference between just Facebook Marketplace and listing in Facebook Marketplace and listing in those groups. I found that when I do list in the groups, I get a lot more local sales than when I just list on Marketplace with local pickup. But listing in those groups, if you list something, like I sell these vintage lawn chairs for $50 a piece, which, normal people don't necessarily know the value of those. That would seem crazy to somebody not involved in reselling or who like those chairs. If you list something like that in those groups, people lose their minds. You will get 100 comments threatening you, telling you this. So I've learned
stealing from the poor, scammers. Yeah.
I've learned to be very careful posting in those groups unless it's something that is going to be very fair price, and that's just like a common item. And that's the only time I have issues is when I post in the groups. Just posting on Marketplace, there isn't an issue because there's no place to publicly comment. Correct. But when you post in the groups and people can go under and comment and talk and say whatever, that's when I have issues.
I can't stop smiling because my husband, he doesn't really care about reselling. He's never gotten excited. But then one day he was like, Amber, I have something I want you to find for me at garage sales. Vintage lawn chairs. And I'm like, Like, what? Like, those are worth good money. Like, and I've never found one, but
Is he
yeah, it's
still looking?
I've got some for sale right now. I'll ship them to your husband. I'll give him a
no,
deal.
I'm gonna find them for
I
cheap.
have some for local pickup.
Oh my gosh, you guys
My
found them. I haven't
parents
found them yet.
That's great.
Yeah, because we have a couple and he loves them, and he's like, we need more for when people come over. I'm like, well, I'll look for them, but haven't found them yet. And I had 2 more wrap questions. Okay, do you guys think this is like a hot topic that I hear people saying a lot? Like, Facebook is going to be bigger than eBay. It's like the next big platform. I totally can see it. Like, they're, much more modern, and they don't have all this old infrastructure that eBay has that they're trying to work around. And they have access to a huge audience that's already integrated into something that people use. So I could see it happening. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Any opinions about whether Facebook is going to become the next biggest platform?
I think, sorry.
I think that integration, you said that they already have their audience right there ready to go, is very important. But I think they need to get through all of their glitches and all of the issues they have, or they're going to have a lot of sellers leaving the site or buyers who get screwed over. And then you just can't continue with that bad reputation. So they've got some things to work through, but I could see it potentially.
I'm really glad they have the reviews visible. And I think that helps a lot, because then as buyers, people will start to learn like only certain sellers you can trust, which will help those of us that are good sellers to get more sales. So Greg, what were you going to say?
I mean, I think Facebook is in the business of data, and how, like Drew was saying earlier, when you talk about something, you'll see the ads for that thing the next day. And I think that's what is going to make them the next bigger platform. I think they'll get through all the glitches. I think they're still learning, and everything's so new that they rarely know what they're doing right now for the most part. But I think that them being able to do that is what's going to make them huge.
Definitely. Drew, what are your thoughts?
I think from a Facebook standpoint, I don't think that Facebook cares about marketplace or cares about resellers or people selling at all. I think that Facebook cares about keeping people on Facebook and not going to other websites, because that's how they make their money is, when you look at drop shippers and all these other people that are running ads on Facebook, that's where Facebook's making most of their money, is from people running ads and paying for ads on Facebook for their brands, their products, for the next movie that's coming out. Like, companies are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars advertising on Facebook. So whatever Facebook can do to get people to stay is what I think is, their end goal. And that's ultimately, I do think that marketplace will be great. I think eBay is slowly getting worse and worse, and Facebook is slowly getting better and better. What's relatable for Facebook Marketplace is that people are already on Facebook. And I don't know what the number is, but it's like there's 4 billion users of Facebook or something like that, or activity, logins, clicks, something like that. There's some billions of numbers daily. Nobody has that type of reach, except for, I think the only other 2 platforms that compete are Instagram and TikTok right now, that have the actual like login and scrolling features. So I think that there's potential for marketplace for sure on in the years to come.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming on my channel and answering all these questions about Facebook Marketplace. So if you guys want to end by just telling everybody where they can follow you, where they can ask you every single Facebook Market question they have. No, just kidding. But if you could just say where your social medias are, and then maybe what you generally talk about, so that if someone's interested in that topic, they can go and check out your social media. So we'll start with you, Amber.
Yeah, so I'm at Arbitrage with Amber on Instagram. There's underscores in between. And every week I post everything that I sold, and you can see the exact prices. You can see the brands, see the sizes, and then I comment if I would like pick up that item again. And a lot of those brands right now, when I'm pushing quantity, are things that you could probably find in your closet. I do like Nike, like Target brands, like honestly, like not a whole bunch of groundbreaking stuff. I do have some of those like better items like Lululemon and Patagonia, but that's kind of what you can see. So if you are trying to get started and don't even know what items to list, that would probably be a great place to start.
Yeah, and I have people comment and ask me often, like, I live in an area where I don't have access to high-end brands. Like, I don't have access to that high-end brands, but they're definitely, like, if I grew up in my hometown, I'd have even less. If I grew up, I did grow up in my hometown. If I lived there now, I'd have even fewer options. But yeah, Amber is a great person to watch if you don't have access to super high-end brands and you'd rather do the quantity route. And also, I knew you did well on Facebook because you post your sales, so I could see what you're selling and, you know, see your experience. So, Drew, you want to go next?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Profit Monsters, and then currently my Instagram is Drew_thrifts and flips, spelled out. But I sell a little bit of everything, so I am really active on Instagram, more than YouTube, I'd say, probably because I just like sharing my finds and stuff and engaging with the audience on Instagram. But I do a lot of I don't know, what sold and those types of videos on YouTube if you're interested in that. Flea market hauls, things like that, things that I'm picking up. And then on Instagram, I do a lot of engagement about like, I do like copper drop on my Instagram story. So like I'll post something that I find at a thrift store, and then I'll ask the people that follow me on Instagram, would you pick this up or would you leave it at the thrift store? And it's really cool to see, you know, like how many of my followers would have bought it, how many wouldn't. And I usually know before I do the copper drop if I'm going to pick it up or not. And then if I do pick it up and I sell it, I like to share that and say, for those of you who said drop, you know, this may be something to consider in the future. This sold great for me or something like that. But I sell a little bit of everything. I have videos of my shed going through like, I mean, I've got clothing, video games, electronics, shoes, hard goods, appliances, vintage lawn chairs. So, you know, there's a little bit of everything in my my reselling journey.
And I am most familiar with you when you go live on. Is it on your channel and Joey's channel, or is it always on Joey's?
Currently, it's always on Joey's channel. We do a live listing every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. His channel or his YouTube channel is called Joey Bada Bing 22. And we just go live, we hang out, and we do listings on eBay or whatever platform you like to sell on. And we just engage with the community and like have a good time, you know, getting work done. So that's a lot of fun. You can check that out too.
Yeah, personally, when I list, I always like to be watching something. And if somebody's live, like I'll usually definitely tune in. So I've tuned in quite a few times. So Greg, do you want to talk about your social media next?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, Rocky Mountain Resale. I'm really trying hard to actually start putting stuff on YouTube more often. But if you let like Osborne to Thrift or Drew, the kind of stuff they sell is pretty similar to what I sell. Just random stuff that gets surprisingly good money sometimes. But,
yeah, and from talking to you on Instagram a lot, I know you have really great tips. So you just got to turn them into YouTube videos. And yeah. I mean, I've seen one video of yours in particular where you did a tip video about like how to identify, what is it, size and style on certain boots?
Yeah.
It was
really I want to start making. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it was a good video. It was really informative.
Thank you.
What were you gonna say? You want to make what in the future?
I was just gonna say I want to start doing some more boot videos, like just how to tell the toe and how to tell if this is what brands are worth picking up, and just try and do something a little different than what everyone else is doing. But I like doing what sold videos as well, because I think there's actually proof of what something's worth versus a haul video where you're kind of just guessing in a sense.
Absolutely. All right. Well, if you guys have any other Facebook Marketplace questions, put them in the comments down below. And thank you all for watching, and stay tuned because as always, I'll have a new video out soon.